All right, we are live, ladies and gentlemen, on Bear Sheath Palm with your host, Levite Khan. Give me just a minute here. All right. That being said, hold on a minute. Make sure I can hear myself. Come on. What happened? What's going on here? Can I be heard? I think I can be. Okay. All right. Take her one more thing. Today, though, we are going to be doing Joshua chapter 17, 18, 19, and 20. I hope people enjoyed that video live stream or whatever you want to call it from last night. I just did what I could for the amount of time, and I still took it reads 1 hour 57 minutes and 43 seconds. So that being said, anyway, I'll go ahead and get this on, and we'll get this moving here. We'll see what we can do. Because hopefully tomorrow, whenever the next reading is, we'll have Joshua finished up and we'll be going into Judges. Then after that, it'll probably change, or it will, because of the Jewish order of the Tanakh. All right. Joshua chapter 17. There was also a lot for the tribe of Manasseh, for he was the firstborn to Joseph, to wit, for Machir, the firstborn of Manasseh, the father of Gilead, because he was a man of war. Therefore he had Gilead and Bashan. There was also a lot for the rest of the children of Manasseh by their families, for the children of Abiezer, and for the children of Helek, and for the children of Azriel, and for the children of Shechem, and for the children of Hefer, and for the children of Shemida. These were the male children of Manasseh, the son of Joseph, by their families. But Zelophehad, the son of Hefer, the son of Gilead, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, had no sons, but daughters. But daughters. And these are the names of his daughters: Melah and Noah, Hagla, Milcah, and Tirzah. Alrighty. And they came near before Eleazar the priest, and before Joshua the son of Nun, and before the princes, saying, the Lord commanded Moses to give us an inheritance among our brethren. Therefore, according to the commandment of the Lord, he gave them an inheritance among the children of their father. And there fell 10 portions to Manasseh, beside the land of Gilead and Bashan, which are on the other side Jordan, because the daughters of Manasseh had an inheritance among his sons, and the rest of Manasseh's sons had the land of Gilead. And the coast of Manasseh was from Asher to Michmathah. Hold on. Okay, got that. Okay. And the coast of Manasseh was from Asher to Shechem, and the border was along on the right hand unto the inhabitants of Tappuah. Now Manasseh had the land of Tappuah, but Tappuah on the border of Manasseh belonged to the children of Ephraim. And the coast descended unto the river Cana, southward of the river. These cities of Ephraim are among the cities of Manasseh. The coast of Manasseh was also on the north side of the river, and the outgoings of it were at the sea. Southward it was Ephraim's, and northward it was Manasseh's, and the sea is his border, and they met together in Asher on the north, and in Issachar on the east. And Manasseh had in Issachar and in Asher Bethshean and her towns, and Ibleam and her towns, and the inhabitants of Dor and her towns, and the inhabitants of Endor and her towns, and the inhabitants of Taanach and her towns, and the inhabitants of Megiddo and her towns, even 3 countries. Okay, that's where Armageddon will be done. Megiddo. Before going to verse 12, welcome and shalom to Carolyn Gannon. Glad you're here. Verse 12. Yet the children of Manasseh could not drive out the inhabitants of those cities, but the Canaanites would dwell in that land. Yet it came to pass, when the children of Israel were waxen strong, that they put the Canaanites to tribute, but did not utterly drive them out. Okay, we'll be getting into more of that too as we get into the beginning of Judges. They didn't get rid of them totally like they were supposed to do. Verse 14. And the children of Joseph spake unto Joshua, saying, Why hast thou given me but one lot and one portion to inherit, seeing I am a great people, for as much as the Lord hath blessed me hitherto? And Joshua answered them, If thou be a great people, then get thee up to the wood country, and cut down for thyself there in the land of the Perizzites and of the giants, if Mount Ephraim be too narrow for thee. And the children of Joseph said, The hill is not enough for us. And all the Canaanites that dwell in the land of the valley have chariots of iron, both they who are of Bethshean and her towns, and they who are of the valley of Jezreel. And Joshua spake unto the house of Joseph, even to Ephraim and to Manasseh, saying, Thou art a great people, and hast great power. Thou shalt not have one lot only, but the mountain shall be thine, for it is a wood, and thou shalt cut it down, and the outgoings of it shall be thine, for thou shalt drive out the Canaanites, though they have iron chariots, and though they be strong. Right, it's all 18 verses of Joshua chapter 17. A minute here. All right. Let me take a swig of coffee here, and then we'll get going. All right. Chapter 18. And the whole congregation of the children of Israel assembled together at Shiloh, and set up the tabernacle of the congregation there, and the land was subdued before them. And there remained among the children of Israel 7 tribes which had not yet received their inheritance. And Joshua said unto the children of Israel, How long are ye slack to go to possess the land which the Lord God of your fathers hath given you? Go out from among you 3 men for each tribe, and I will send them, and they shall rise and go through the land, and describe it according to the inheritance of them, and they shall come again to me. And they shall divide it into 7 parts. Judah shall abide in their coast on the south, and the house of Joseph shall abide in their coasts on the north. Ye shall therefore describe the land into 7 parts, and bring the description hither to me, that I may cast lots for you here before the Lord our God. But the Levites have no part among you, for the priesthood of the Lord is their inheritance. And Gad and Reuben and half the tribe of Manasseh have received their inheritance beyond Jordan on the east, which Moses the servant of the Lord gave them. And the men arose and went away, and Joshua charged them that went to describe the land, saying, Go and walk through the land, and describe it, and come again to me, that I may here cast lots for you before the Lord at Shiloh. And the men went and passed through the land, and described it by cities into 7 parts in a book, and came again to Joshua to the host at Shiloh. Before we go on to verse 9, welcome and shalom to Wilfred Whiskey. All right. You guys are showing up. That's good. Verse 9. And the men went and passed through the land, and described it by cities into 7 parts in the book, and came again to Joshua to the host at Shiloh. And I just read that verse a second time. Well, I guess it doesn't hurt us, does it? Verse 10. And Joshua cast lots for them at Shiloh before the Lord, and there Joshua divided the land unto the children of Israel according to their divisions. And the lot of the tribe of the children of Benjamin came up according to their families, and the coast of their lot came forth between the children of Judah and the children of Joseph. And their border on the north side was from Jordan, and the border went up to the side of Jericho on the north side, and went up through the mountains westward. And the goings out thereof were at the wilderness of Bethaven. Before we go on to verse 13, welcome and shalom to Craig Hayden. All right, bud. Glad you're all making it here. And their border went over from thence toward Luz to the side of Luz, which is Bethel, southward, and the border descended to Adarothadar, near the hill that lieth on the south side of the nether Beth Horon. And the border was drawn thence, encompassed the corner of the sea southward from the hill that lieth before Beth Horon southward, and the goings out thereof were at Kirjath Baal, which is Kirjath Jearim, a city of the children of Judah. This was the west quarter. And the south quarter was from the end of Kirjath Jearim, and the border went out on the west, and went out to the well of waters to Nephtoah. And the border came down to the end of the mountain that lieth before the valley of the son of Hinnom, and which is in the valley of the giants on the north, and descended to the valley of Hinnom, to the side of Jebusai on the south, and descended to Enrogel, and was drawn from the north, and went from Enshemish, and went forth toward Galiloth, which is over against the going up of Edumim, and descended to the stone of Bohan the son of Reuben, and passed along toward the side over against Arabah northward, and went down unto Arabah. And the border passed along to the side of Beth Hogla northward, and the outgoings of the border were at the north bay of the Salt Sea, at the south end of Jordan. This was the south coast. And Jordan was the border of it on the east side. This was the inheritance of the children of Benjamin by the coast thereof round about, according to their families. Now the cities of the tribe of the children of Benjamin, according to their families, were Jericho, and Beth Hogla, and the valley of Keziz, and Beth Arabah, and Zemaraim, and Bethel, and Abim, and Para, and Ophrah, and and Shepher, Ham, Moni, and Ophni, and Gaba, 12 cities with their villages, Gibeon, and Ramah, and Beeroth, and Mizpah, and Shephirah, and Moza, and Rechem, and Urpeel, and Teralah, and Zelah, Eleph, and Jebusai, which is Jerusalem, Gibeath, and Kirjath, 14 cities with their villages. This is the inheritance of the children of Benjamin according to their families. It's all 28 verses of Joshua chapter 18. Welcome and shalom now also to Nicole CB. How you doing? So this is the long chapter coming up here. I think 51 verses of chapter 19. I'll finish up my coffee here. And I think we should keep this moving. It's going at a pretty decent pace. My pain is less now than what it was. The medicine is working through me to get the infection out of my gooms. Thank God. Okay, chapter 19. And the second lot came forth to Simeon, even for the tribe of the children of Simeon, according to their families, and their inheritance was within the inheritance of the children of Judah. And they had in their inheritance Beersheba, and Sheba, and Moladah, and Hazar Shual, and Bela, and Azim, and Eltalad, and Bethel, and Hormah, and Ziklag, and Beth Markaboth, and Hazar Susa, and Beth Lebaoth, and Sheruhen, 13 cities and their villages, and Ramon, and Ether, and Ashan, 4 cities and their villages, and all the villages that were round about these cities, to Baal, Athbeer, Ramath of the south. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Simeon according to their families. Out of the portion of the children of Judah was the inheritance of the children of Simeon. The part of the children of Judah was too much for them. Therefore the children of Simeon had their inheritance within the inheritance of them. And the third lot came up for the children of Zebulun according to their families, and the border of their inheritance was unto Sarid, and their border went up toward the sea, and Marilah, and reached to Dabasheth, and reached to the river that is before Jokneam, and turned from Sarid eastward toward the sun rising unto the border of Kisloth Tabor, and then goeth out to Dabarath, and goeth up to Japhia, And from thence passeth on along the coast, on along on the coast to Gada Hefer, to Itakazin, sorry about my tongue again, and goes out to Ramon Mithoar to Nea, and the border compasseth it on the north side to Hanathon, and the outgoings thereof are in the valley of Jethael, and Ketath, and Nahalal, and Shimron, and Idalah, and Bethlehem, 12 cities with their villages. This is the inheritance of the children of Zebulun, according to their families, these cities with their villages. And the fourth lot came out to Issachar, for the children of Issachar, according to their families. And their border was toward Jezreel, and Kesoloth, and Shunem, and Haphraim, and Shion, and Anaharath, and Rabbath, and Keshion, and Abez, and Rameth, and Enganim, and Enhada, and Beth Pazez. And the coast reacheth to Tabor, and Shehazamah, and Beth Shemesh, and the outgoings of their borders were at Jordan, 16 cities with their villages. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Issachar, according to their families, the cities and their villages. And the fifth lot came out for the tribe of the children of Asher, according to their families. And their border was Helkath, and Heli, and Beten, and Akshaph, and Elamelech, and Amad, and Mishael, and reaches to Carmel westward to Shibor Libnath, and turneth toward the sun rising to Beth Dagon, and reacheth to Zebulun, and to the valley of Jephthahel, toward the north side of Bethemech, and Nile, and goeth out to Cabal on the left hand, and Hebron, and Rahab, and Hammon, and Cana, even unto great Zidon. And then the coast turneth to Ramah, and to the strong city Tyre, and the coast turneth to Hosah, and the outgoings thereof are at the sea from the coast to Achzib. Umah also, and Aphek, and Rahab, 22 cities with their villages. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Asher, according to their families, these cities with their villages. The sixth lot came out to the children of Naphtali, even for the children of Naphtali, according to their families. And their coast was from Heleph, from Elon to Zaanannim, and Adamai, Necheb, and Jabneel unto Lachem, and the outgoings thereof were at Jordan. And then the coast turneth westward to Asnoth Tabor, and goeth out from thence to Hukok, and reacheth to Zebulun on the south side, and reacheth to Asher on the west side, and to Judah upon Jordan toward the sun rising. And the fenced cities are Ziddim, Zur, and Hamath, Rakath, and Chinnereth, and Adamah, and Ramah, and Hazor, and Kadesh, and Edrei, and Hazor, and Iron, and Migdalel, Horam, and Bethanath, and Beth Shemesh, 19 cities with their villages. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Naphtali, according to their families, the cities and their villages. And the seventh lot came out for the tribe of the children of Dan, according to their families. And the coast. Where was that? And the coast of their inheritance was Zorah, and Eshtaol, and Shemesh, and Shaaleben, and Ajalon, and Jethlah, and Elon, and Thimnathah, and Ekron, and Eltekeh, and Gibbethon, and Baalath, and Jehud, and Bena Barak, and Githraman, and Majarkon, and Rakon, with the border before Japheth. And the coast of the children of Dan went out, too little for them, Therefore the children of Dan went up to fight against Leshem, and took it, and smote it with the edge of the sword, and possessed it, and dwelt therein, and called Leshem Dan, Dan after the name of Dan their father. This is the inheritance of the tribe of the children of Dan, according to their families, these cities with their villages. When they had made an end of dividing the land for inheritance by their coasts, the children of Israel gave an inheritance to Joshua the son of Nun among them. According to the word of the Lord, they gave him the city which he asked, even Timnath-Serah, and Mount Ephraim, and he built the city and dwelt therein. These are the inheritance which Eleazar the priest and Joshua the son of Nun, and the heads of the fathers of the tribes of the children of Israel, divided for an inheritance by lot in Shiloh before the Lord at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. So they made an end of dividing the country. And that's all 51 verses of Joshua chapter 19. Okay, I'm looking at the chat here. Okay. All right. Everything's looking good. Let's do the last chapter for our day here and on my live stream anyway. And as far as the orderly reading, which is only 9 verses, Joshua chapter 20. The Lord also spake unto Joshua, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, saying, Appoint out for you cities of refuge, whereof I spake unto you by the hand of Moses, that the slayer that killeth any person unawares and unwittingly may flee thither, and they shall be your refuge from the avenger of blood. And when he that doth flee unto one of those cities shall stand at the entering of the gate of the city, and shall declare his cause in the ears of the elders of that city, they shall take him into the city into them, and give him a place, that he may dwell among them. And if the avenger of blood pursue after him, then they shall not deliver the slayer up into his hand, because he smote his neighbor unwittingly and hated him not before time. And he shall dwell in that city until he stand before the congregation for judgment, and until the death of the high priest. That's a sacrifice, folks. Let me finish the verse. Death of the high priest that shall be in those days. Then shall the slayer return and come unto his own city and unto his own house, unto the city from whence he fled. Now, again, this has been brought up before when we were in the Torah. As a representation, it was a future representation of Yeshua coming down. And whereas the high priest, when he would expire, then that person could leave safely, supposedly anyway, as long as that happens, that he could leave the refuge city and whatever. Believe it or not, the death of the high priest was a symbolic and really a spiritual representation of what was to happen later with Yeshua. A lot of people don't know that. Even my Old Testament, but even my Jewish counterparts do acknowledge this. Not per Yeshua, I want to make that clear, but they do know what this is about for the future Messiah, as they would say. And welcome and shalom to Mike's Isha. All right, Mike's wife. All right. Verse 7. And they appointed Kadesh in Galilee and Mount Naphtali, and Shechem in Mount Ephraim, and Kirjath Arba, which is Hebron, in the mountain of Judah. And on the other side, Jordan by Jericho eastward, they assigned Bezer in the wilderness upon the plain out of the tribe of Reuben, and Ramoth and Gilead out of the tribe of Gad, and Golan and Bashan out of the tribe of Manasseh. These were the cities appointed for all the children of Israel, and for the stranger that sojourneth among them, that whosoever killeth any person at unawares might flee thither, and not die by the hand of the avenger of blood, until he stood before the congregation. Hence ends the reading for today. All right. Look at something here. Just to update people because of my wife insisting, which is for the better, because I sure wouldn't have done it on my own. I have that attitude. Um, uh, we went to the emergency room a couple days ago, and I always make this joke. I was bent over while Miss Registered Nurse Big Bubba stuck me, gave me a shot in each butt cheek. But it did help. It hurt, but it helped. It helped. No pun intended. But now today we got a ride because my wife keeps doing it, and now she's maybe not this second, but she's diligently searching for an oral surgeon. And I just want to have them all pulled out. Actually, I've always wanted to have them all pulled out. I remember years and decades ago, I would just ask dentists back then, come on, let's just pull these stupid things out, I know people that can talk and eat and do all this stuff. It's just goons. And they can put in their dentures anytime. Oh, no, they're good. We want to save these teeth. Well, now it's to a point. I mean, when we have a copy of my x-ray today. And even when I was looking at it with the dental assistant, oh, man, I want them out. And they're all with me on that. Well, I hope they can't see my ugly mug, Deb. That's a good thing. Right? But, okay. She told me to turn off that darn light. Maybe I should just cover it here, and that way I don't scare everybody off, huh? No, but seriously, I'm just making the point, folks. It's not like I didn't do anything for myself back in the day. I did. I really did. And I don't feel guilty in a sense. Ever since what happened to us when we were hijacked in Florida, I went up levels of hardcore military or militant, hardcore, bona fide, just being really diehard. And I'm probably still, I am. I guess if something happens to me here, just let me die. Just let me go to the Lord from this property. I'm cool with it. That being said, I don't, but I know I need to be out. I need to be here and I'm healthy. I'm old, but I'm a big, I'm a pretty strong guy in that, and I need to be here for my wife. So hopefully we can get this done. And there's a lot of stuff I do here. So just thought I'd update you people that have been praying for me, whatever, and have been informed what's been going on with my teeth and gooms and whatever, just my mouth. I can't stand the process. This is ridiculous. And it wasn't, the people were really polite and courteous. They were kind. They were professional. But they have protocol, too, that they don't have a choice but to go by. And if they're going to have jobs, I did try to talk to dentists and at least taking a couple of my canines out. But no. Of course, that would have happened. I don't think I would have done the reading tonight. But that being said, well, I had to have the light on, Deb, to read. I guess I don't need it on now. But anyway, I'm looking at the chat as I'm talking here. But that being said, folks, I hope those of you who watched my live stream live and maybe pre-recorded since, from yesterday, I I hope you got something out of it. You know, it's I believe it's charismatic and Kundalini chaos. There's a number of reasons why I did it. One, I've experienced it myself. I've never been caught up in the Kundalini spirit, but I've seen others who have. Well, we got salt. I can do warm salt water, I suppose. Deb keeps track of that stuff. I mean, I know we have salt right there, and we use it. I use it to an extent with that. As far as baking soda, I don't know what we have here. But it's not just the extreme hardcore, ultra Orthodox Jews, you know, Jewish people, Jewish practitioners. I think a lot of them are frauds. My Jewish counterparts, I guess, call them what you will. Sin is spread all abroad, and it's like a contagious disease, and it doesn't matter what your background is. That mommy who's 16 years younger to the day than my wife, and people are worshiping her dumbass. And she's not dumb, though. She's obviously a pretty intelligent and to an extent a charismatic woman. That Crick woman. And of course, there are other people in there whom you recognized, I'm sure, you know, Benny Hinn and Kenneth Copeland. And I mean, just imagine, folks, all the thousands of people that were displayed, you know, from clips of videos I did, if they were to actually open up a Bible, learn, let the Spirit guide them, and get obedient, how much difference it would make on this land and around the world. That really irks me. Now that, you know, I guess I've just never understood it. Following somebody blindly like that. I've never been like that. I've had people I have really admired and respected and liked, if I got to know them on a personal level, that has some gifts or abilities throughout my lifetime. I've been around some famous people, rich people too, for that matter. Kind of goes hand in hand. And they're just like any one of us in some areas. Some are really good people and you enjoy being around them. Some are just average, normal, or as far as personalities go. And you can take them or leave them, and take or leave them. And some of them are, well, I'd like to choke and pass them out. I don't care how rich and famous they are or how poor and unknown. And I just don't get it. Not only that, but with all that fake BS they do. Yeah, Pentecostal church. Oh, yeah. Well, Nicole, come on now. I mean, look for a few things. God gave you a brain too, Nicole, and I know you're smart. You're an intelligent woman, and somebody starts laughing uncontrollably in a service, I mean, it's a pretty good indication. Not only that, I think some are fooled into it. I mean, they're being a part of the scam, and they're too stupid to even realize it. Or I don't know if they're MK Ultra, or maybe not, but they're just maybe a little brainwashed to the, you know, at least to the point where they're not critically thinking. Like that woman, you know, who was in tears, you know, that blonde, oh, mama. And she's looking at her phone, her iPhone, to translate the so-called prayer language. Not only that, but when she fell and started doing this, her hand stayed wrapped around that iPhone. I know, I remember pointing that out. And you got to just look for key things. You know, it's like another subject to this. Has nothing to do with the Kundalini or charismatic chaos, but like during the Biden-Harris administration, I've seen it done a lot of things. And okay. Well, they probably don't have that particular demon. Maybe they don't. I don't know. But something's, you know, they could just be plain fooled and demonically oppressed by other things. But what they're guilty of is some of them wanted two things. Some of them are both these things that I'm about to mention. One, they're not opening up a Bible. Two, if they do, the ones that do are very much cherry picking and passing off the rest. Who wants to read what I just read on a practical level? Hardly anybody. I have to admit, do I want to get up and do I want to open up this big and so after such and such cities and blah, blah? Well, of course not. It's not that fun, but it's God's word and I enjoy it. I respect it. Okay, fair enough. That's something you need to deal with. I can respect that, Nicole. But that being said, I kind of get distracted here, but you know, these people, sin is all over, and look at how rich these people are. Okay, you know how I said how much more obedient people could be if they read and study their Bibles and chuck Benny Hinn off kick him to the curb. Okay, forget about him. Not only that, but look at those people. Kenneth Copeland, I believe. Let me look this stuff up. I believe Kenneth Copeland, because I put him in there too, is the richest televangelist. Hold on. Richest. But yeah, Kenneth Copeland is widely regarded as the richest televangelist in the world. His net worth is estimated between, because they don't know, these people, you can hide accounts. My dad used to tell me about it when he was alive and he was a bank owner. He wasn't worth what these people are, but okay. His net worth is estimated between $300 million and $760 million. He leads Kenneth Copeland Ministries, based in Texas, and is a prominent teacher of the prosperity gospel. Okay, even though he's the richest, he's not the only one. Benny Hinn's worth a lot. Mike Murdoch's worth a lot. That Dave guy somewhere in Michigan is worth a lot. I hadn't even heard of him until another Dave guy told me about him, and I did a video on that. I think in late 2018 or something when I was still in Phoenix. Joyce Myers, Paula Kane White, who was in there. It's just that blows my mind too. How stupid when you watch it. People go for it. That's what gets me. It's like people really fall for this bogus. I'm baffled. You know, but look how rich those people are. They can do with what they want with their money, I guess, if they legally made it. Even if they scam people but did it legally. But imagine if they were to really open up some things here. Educational centers for academics and other things for like on-hand skills, for jobs. And if they were to feed people, and I'm not saying they never put out a meal. They'll do something. And, of course, they make sure it's advertised. They tell the right hand what their left is doing. But if they were to, they could prosper this nation. I don't understand. Let's see how much. See how much Paula Kane, President Trump's how much President Trump's primary leader is. Net worth, 60 years old. I remember that when she was a few years younger. Oh, I know, I'm pretty. Yeah, she is. She's good looking for 60 now, even. I better keep my mouth shut here. Facebook reads, so-called pastor Paula White net worth is $30 million now. Now, this other one for celebrity net worth is reading around $5 million. So you can't, I have to admit, though, too, if I got rich, I wouldn't want you people or anybody, I mean, really knowing what I'm fully worth anyway. I mean, I would hide accounts legally. It gets done. You have to be a lot more savvy about it today with the internet and stuff. But the biggest one, not the richest, but the biggest one. Let's see that guy in Dallas, Texas, or whatever. His dad was a televangelist until John. Hold on, I'm brain farting, in. A second. Why am I? No, not Robert Tilton. I don't care about him. John Hagee. Who's that guy I'm thinking of? But all these guys are multimillionaires. Not John Hagee. I don't care about. I mean, he's worth a lot too. I just kind of. There's a lot of them. Wow, Jimmy Swaggart, he's dead. That's not who I'm thinking of. I guess it doesn't matter. But if these people were really to get together and want to improve them, no, not Hager. He preaches a positive gospel, feel good. Well, they all do that, I guess. But I mean, his dad actually preached better sermons, really, according to the scriptures, than he ever has now. I remember hearing his old man when he'd be doing it when I was in my middle 20s and that. But these people, if they were to get together, and you're going to have some failures. People are going to flunk out of the class. People are going to quit. They're going to stop coming to the program to learn their mechanical skills, whatever. No, I said him already, Deb. But and you have to expect that. But I just and if they were really to preach the scriptures. Just saying. I just can't think of his doggone name. A lot of street preachers go in front of his building off the property on the sidewalk, of course. He's a Caucasian. Billy Graham is deceased. His son Franklin is doing it, Deb. But I know another way to look at it. Larry King Live is deceased too, but yes, Joel Osteen. His deceased earthly father is John Osteen. I knew there was John in there somewhere. Okay. Joel Osteen, he's got resources up the yin yang. He's actually used them a little bit to help people, but no, I mean, for his capacity, nothing to really brag about. Joel Osteen. I mean, all those guys. When I get my mind on something, folks, I can't help myself. I just keep looking. Sorry to do that to you live. But there's so much of that not. Deb, I just said the name. So that being said, of course he is. That's just granted there, and welcome and shalom to Texas. Hosco. Okay. Osteen, Deb. I said John Osteen is his dad, was his earthly father, and I remember him preaching. Even he was more into the Bible than Joel is. No, I'm not sticking up for the late John Osteen. Don't be mistaken. I better make sure that that's the name of his dad. But you know, if these people were to do it a different way, doggone it, my hands are so big for this phone. Well, let's do net worth. He's worth supposedly between $50 million and $100 million. Lakewood Church, isn't that like the largest church? Am I right on? I don't know if I'm right on that or anyway. Yeah, John Osteen, the late John Osteen. Yeah, and he passed away from a heart attack. John Osteen passed away from a heart attack on the 23rd of January, 1999. John Osteen was a Southern Baptist. Wow, that I didn't know. So I can't know everything all the time. Yeah, TD Jakes is another one. I mean, so do they really have the ability, which they don't? Do they care about anybody? No, they're psychopaths too, from what I can tell. But anyway, and they're demonically driven. Some are oppressed, probably, and some are just downright possessed. But I wanted to put some of that out, folks. I could do video after video or do a long marathon live stream or whatever on those people. And I've known some people that are pretty much fooled by them. Benny Hinn whips his jacket in the air and everybody falls down, and you gotta love it. Quite entertaining. So, and I might put some more stuff out there. There's a gentleman that I have some respect for, and I think he's in Yeshua. He's well educated, and he isn't. You know, he and his people don't call themselves Christians any more than we do. In my realm, they also, though they're also not Hebrew worders. They're not Messianics, and I won't say what the name is. I don't understand my Jewish brother because he's really so much into the oral readings, verse here and another verse there out of the scripture. But to me, that's what Yeshua went against a lot. It irks me to no end. And I don't really want to defame him. Maybe there's something he knows that I don't. I don't know. I think about it and I'd have to look into it again, but there was actually one issue as far as divorce and that, and it's okay for a man to divorce, do the kirioth to the woman. When you go back to Deuteronomy 24. Yeah, he's another one, Deb. But when you do that, even Yeshua was more with this, not that he cared about or even knew about the other rabbi, but there's this rabbi who's fairly Talmudic, I guess you'd call him. And when it comes to divorce, he's really highly against it. And so is Yeshua and that. And I just, but you have to do interpretation. And you need to, of course, it's just granted that you not be guilty, that you don't want to be guilty of eisegesis. Okay, coming up with your own personal text, or excuse me, personal definition that fits your deceptive agenda. And, so when you go to Deuteronomy 17, starting with verse 8, and you can compare and refer that with what a lot of Paul did in his writings, it can get quite complicated with the issues that are gray areas. But because we can't do everything according to the Torah right now. There's no way. I've never claimed that we could. I've claimed that yes, we can follow the 10 Commandments. I think that's possible for most of us. In Exodus 20, in Deuteronomy 5. But really, we are in whether we like it or not. And I don't mean that spiritually, okay? Yah, the Father, understands this, but we are in bondage in the sense to a pagan nation, whatever pagan nation you may be from, and their laws and whatever. And sometimes you have to make a choice. What do you want to do? Sometimes it might be like Exodus, chapter 1 with the women, and they went against the Pharaoh, and you may get blessed like they did. Then again, you may lose your head. When you look at Acts chapters 4 and 5, it didn't go well for them on this earth, but they were given many crowns, as far as I can tell. Not salvation, but for being obedient. You guys are coming up with all these people. I remember the name of that lady, too, that made a prophecy for President Trump during his first term when he's getting ready, right before the election against back then former Vice President Joe Biden, Denise Goutlet. Another thing, did he get a second term? Yeah, but not in the timeline. She and many others said that he would. That being said, folks, man, I need a haircut. But, if all those people were just to, stop being dupuses sitting on their laurels and open up a Bible. Look, there's certain translations I don't like. I recommend against them for the most part. But I'll tell you something, like the New International Version, sometimes we call it the New International, or the Nearly Inspired Version for sarcasm. If those people are that inexperienced, that much of novices in the scriptures, even if they were to open an NIV or an NLT as a New Living Translation, or a Good News Bible, another crappy, if they were to do that and really start reading and studying, God would honor that. And I think can eventually move them on to a better translation, but they'd really start learning some things. It's like, why am I getting on my knees crying and worshiping this woman? Okay, Crick is her name. Yeah. Oh boy. I mean, oops, I have to put the whole thing in. All right. Yeah, right here. Yeah, Catherine Crick. There she is. Good looking woman. 35 years old, I believe. There she is. I just couldn't believe what I was watching with that crap. She just eats it right up. It's all about her, man. I'm telling you. I might have to watch this. I didn't know about this. Confronting Apostle Catherine Crick. I don't know if it's worth my time or not. Because to actually think she would go out of her way to help any of us, I doubt it. I have my doubts on that big time. So I don't, folks, I've taken a few days off. I'm still on what Wilfred Whiskey gave me. And like I said, I'm going through for my second time. I'm not going through all the parts. I'm going through the full one, where it's, all together is 12 hours, 22 minutes, and 54 seconds. Europa, the final battle. And I'm still at 3 hours and 3 minutes where I'm taking extensive notes, copying it down not everything, but almost everything, word for word, because I have to verify it or not. And so that being said, I've taken a break for the last 3 days and stuff, because when I have to get into those Talmud and oral readings and what my Jewish counterparts have said and stated, and it's a lot of it's there, not all of it, but a lot of it. I just, it brings me down. It's really a heavy spiritual burden, and I need 2 minutes, folks. Please forgive me. I will be right back. I am going to the latrine. Great. All right, folks, thank you very much for waiting. And I don't want to start. I don't think it's my calling necessarily to look up every televangelist and give you all their dirt. There's plenty of people doing it now on a practical level. That's obvious. I showed it from 3, 4 different channels. And I think they're doing an excellent job. I feel more called to, one, read the scriptures and give the truth with the Ruach leading me. And two, waking people up, if they will, giving them the opportunity to wake up if, by telling them what is going on with the Noahide laws and that, and how they need to read their Bibles. And if more people did that, I mean, I'll eventually get to the point with the say the tribulation gets going, and it will one day, then it won't matter. Millions and millions of people, evidently there's going to be great revival, but millions and millions of people are going to lose their heads. But like right now, if so many more people were to really repent of their nonsensical BS of loosey goosey, greasy, sloppy agape Christendom, which is crap. It's contrary to the scriptures. Get those people to repent. Get the other ones who aren't doing much of anything, just pew warming on Sundays. And then some of my Jewish counterparts, so they're not really guilty of that, folks. I want to make that clear too. They're just as guilty in the sense of they're Saturday pew warmers. They're not doing any critical thinking. You get what I'm saying? I mean, listen, and I'm not overly sticking up for this guy, although he is very good. He's well educated. He's a Jewish Karaite Hacham. Okay. Now, he grew up in the Orthodox realm, I believe, in Chicago, Illinois, and they're a tiny little, very close-knit community. That in and of itself is fine. But then he rejected the oral writings. Hacham is spelled like Hakam. And of course he was getting educated, and he was seeing things in the Bible. I guess, you're a naive kid and young man, and hey, Rabbi, look at this. Here's what it really reads in our JPS or whatever he'd be using at the time. And he talked about it, Stop asking so many questions. You're going to be just like those those Karaites. And that's kind of my deal. The difference is I accept Yeshua as the Mashiach, Jesus as the Messiah, and whereas to my knowledge, he hasn't yet. There is plenty, and I'm even for some of the other books that are outside of the canon. Not all of them, definitely not all of them. But, on a practical level, even just these 66 in what they call a Protestant Bible, folks, there's enough to figure out in here. Okay? More than enough right there. Master it. And that's when, if these Reformed Jews, Orthodox, Sephitic, Hasardic, Karaite for that matter, with just the Tanakh, where, but I'm looking at my dog there for a second. Okay, but he, my Jewish counterparts of whatever realm, they are just as guilty as any pew warming bencher on a Sunday morning as they are on a Saturday. And that's why, too, I want to make this clear as I continue this, and I will be doing more stuff on the ultra-Orthodox Jews, which are really fanatical. Of the higher-ups, for sure, okay? Whereas maybe the regular Jane and Joe or ultra-Orthodox don't know jack about what really is going on. Yeah, I'm kind of in agreement with you there, Wilfred. Depends, though. I'm not really going to ever advocate the current 91 chapters of Jasher, just so you know. But not only that, when I look at what they're doing and along and even teaming up to an extent with the, not the Sunnis, but the Shiite Muslims, with Sharia law on that. I'm not putting it against my Jewish counterparts that are just, the regulars, okay? They have a living to make. They have families to raise. They have their day-to-day lives, okay? They don't have time to be making up schemes, and I suppose some of them, they get complacent like a Sunday-going Christian does, and even some of the Sabbath keepers, for that matter. I mean, what do you want, buddy? Want to be petted? Put your head up here. They can kind of see your nose, yeah. But, you are. Hey, look at that. You're on candid camera, buddy. Yeah. Yeah, good boy. Good boy. When I'm looking at that, I just want to make this clear. I don't really, that evil stuff that I've even put out thus far, and some of it, it's like Israel. I guess there are 3 people now, from what I understand, I just found out, that are running for prime minister to get Benjamin Bibi Netanyahu out of there. And I want him out. I don't care if they try to, what? I don't care if they try to, ow, that was on the wrong spot. Oh, jeez. Oh, dude. He's over 11 months old now. He's a big boy. But that being said, he, I don't care if they pursue him as a war criminal or not. I at least want him out. Okay, and I want Trump to quit kissing his ass. Okay, that's BS. You all know it. I know it. And those other 3, and I'll have to look more into them, but from what I've seen thus far, they want this done. They're tired of bombing the snot out of Iran and whomever their allies doing it back. They want to live their lives in the state of Israel and be left alone, and I don't blame them. I'm all for it. Yes, they need to get Yeshua. I get all that. A lot of them are secular, like Americans. You have your regular Americans. They may acknowledge God or not, but just going around trying to mind their own business, raise their families, pay their bills, and isn't it over 70% that are secular Israeli citizens there? I believe, or I'd have to look it up again. I feel badly for them. That Bibi won't knock that bullshit off what he's pulling. I used to like who he was. But my mind has been changed. About 180-degree turn on him in the last how many years now. And put the guy out to pasture. He's probably too high up on the food chain to where if they try to prosecute him anyway, they probably won't, they'll get as far with him as they have with Governor Walz from my home state, Ilhan Omar, and she ain't nobody. I mean, Trump doesn't even have the sack to have her arrested, and the evidence is all there, you know. So I don't know how they would ever succeed against Netanyahu. He's way bigger than Walz and Ilhan Omar and Governor Newsom from Cali and so on. I mean, just get him out of there. And now I don't know how the other three are as far as how moral they are or not. There's a lot more I need to research. But anyway, I think I've gone on long enough. You're a big boy. Yeah, you're a big boy. You know, and again, people need to give themselves some credit. You don't need Paula White. You don't need Catherine Crick and Joel Osteen and Kenneth Copeland and Joyce Myers. You don't need those people. We don't need them to tell us how to live our lives in a godly manner. I could go up against any one of them as well as I know on an intellectual level the scriptures. And I could expose in a fair debate, discussion, call it what you will. I'd expose them for what they truly are within minutes. And I think a lot of you can too. And we know this. Oh, God, stop. But that being said, folks, I don't, like I said, I just wish a lot of the crowd, a lot of those sheeple that are being led to the slaughter, I don't care what they are. They're against the scriptures and they're claiming to be some kind of God believer, Nicole. Come on. You know that. So, but I don't feel my calling really is just to keep pointing out names and all. I went through that years ago. For those of you who've been with me a while, I know Nicole has, and there's a couple others that type in every now and then. They were with me in the beginning too, and probably longer than Nicole. And those days are over. They're done. And if I can just point out the truth, and people wake up and say, "Yeah, I'm going to open up my King James Bible or my New American Standard," that I think there can be so many blessings of that, and give themselves some credit and let the Spirit guide them. As you can see, I'm being a little bit distracted and occupied here by a big giant baby. Yeah, I know, but there's a lot more to it. That person needs to, get over whatever they went through. If they look, fine. You want a leader? And I'm not God. I'm not claiming anything and being arrogant about this. I'm not a cult, and I joke about it, but obviously I'm not a cult leader. But if they want someone to lead them and help them with the scriptures, come draw them to this channel, folks. I know the scriptures very well for human standards. A lot of you know it. And I think you would call me out if you thought I was purposely trying to do something stupid, or if I was just even honestly mistaken. Okay, I would hope you would, that you'd text me or call me on the phone. A lot of you have my number. Maybe not all of you, but a lot of you, and you could, we could discuss things. So lead them over here. Get my channel bigger, because I want people to get in salvation. I want people to get the truth. And I mean that. I mean that purely, okay? With no agenda there. Well, you could say my agenda is I want them in salvation. Yeah, I don't doubt that, Craig Hayden. But they're so doggone powerful. Look at the people that are making the decisions and bringing this world chaos. They're very minor number-wise. It tells me something. So these people can get to know scripture. It bothers me. I mean, it really bothers me for a number of reasons. But they need to take responsibility. They need to open their Bibles. I keep saying that. I don't care if they start out with one of my Jewish counterparts. If he or she just throws away the writings, Talmuds or whatever, Shulchan Aruch, I don't care, and they just put it to the side and open up their JPS Tanakh and read it without tinted glasses. Mine are not tinted. So, and they ask God to guide them. And I think sooner, within time, it'll get them to the Brit Hadashah anyway. It will get them to, or in English, aka New Testament. And that's just me. And of so many people, we had such a revival that way, true revival, where they were really repenting. I just think the results would be astronomical. I can't prove it one way or another unless if it happens. I can't be proven right or wrong unless if it does. All right, I've gone on long enough. Anybody that wants to go along with Bible studies, wants to see some things that are going on, like say yesterday with that live stream, by all means, send them my way. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, you stay on your guard. You stay safe out there. Keep your heads on your swivels. Pray for one another. Pray together on your phones, on Zooms, and whatever. All right? Peace. Shalom. The Levite man is out of here. Take it easy.